Good morning, Living as a Disciple students. Welcome to our penultimate, great vocab word, look it up, penultimate Ed Puzzle of the year. It means second to last, I'll just tell you. You don't have to look it up. All right. Today's Ed Puzzle is entitled Our Relationship with Creation, Lap 4, Day 3. Homework for that. Can't even get through the second class one without an error. All right. The gift of creation. Pretty simply, right, Catholic teaching asserts that creation is a gift meant for the benefit of all people, and that creation reveals something about the Creator. Just like way back in morality, we talked about natural law, our desires reveal something about who created us. Well, creation itself reveals God's glory and vision. There's a natural beauty to creation. If you've ever gone to a national park or you've ever been somewhere, the beach or the mountains, you can't help but look at the mountains or look at the beauty of creation without feeling a sense of awe. Or if you've ever watched one of those like Planet Earth documentaries, there's something incredible about this world and about the beauty of this world. There's also something incredible about the order and the harmony that result from the diversity of beings and their interdependent relationships, right? So as cheesy as it sounds, the circle of life, right? The fact that animals in nature exist in a balance and they interdepend on one another. And there's a kind of beautiful harmony there in each ecosystem of plants and animals relying on each other and thriving and growing because of each other. And I think it gives us a vision for interdependence, harmony, and diversity. Finally, humans are intended to be caretakers and stewards, that we are meant to take care of what has been created. And the word stewardship means the cultivation and care for the gifts of creation that God has entrusted to us. So it's obviously important for Christianity. Now, there are many threats to stewardship. Human activity has threatened to destroy the harmonious relationships in nature, often in the pursuit of money. As many things that we've talked about this semester, often in the pursuit of money, there are a lot of casualties, there are a lot of consequences along the way. So we see signs of this sin, of these threats to stewardship throughout our world, whether it's water shortages or what happens in places like Flint, Michigan, pollution and smog. You see a collapse of ecosystems. You see entire areas where the biodiversity is threatened. You see an overconsumption of resources. Numerous species going extinct. You see destruction of forests all throughout the earth. And finally, one of the biggest threats is you see climate change. So in 1991, the U.S. bishops wrote a letter called Renewing the Earth. As far as taking notes on this slide, I would just want you to know this letter and what it addressed. So at its core, they say the environmental crisis is a moral challenge. It calls on us to examine how we use and share the goods of the earth. That the environment is just another consequence of our sinful human nature. So go ahead and read the rest of this and be ready to answer a question about it. Moving on. So human-caused climate change. Human-caused climate change is a long-term change in the Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. We're not going to get too much into the science of this. I think all of you have learned about the greenhouse effect, that greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, block heat from escaping the planet. That the number of emissions, carbon dioxide, which is the result of cars, factories, trains, all these things, planes especially, get trapped in the atmosphere and they keep heat from leaving our planet. So according to NASA, 97% of publishing scientists agree that climate changes over the last century are likely due to human activity. And most leading scientific organizations worldwide have released statements endorsing this position. So I don't want to get into debating this because really scientifically, most scientists agree. Most credible academic organizations agree. And even if it weren't human caused, you're still seeing a change in the climate that is going to affect people. Moving on. So as you've seen from the video we're watching, there are a number of consequences of climate change, such as rising temperatures, changes in rain patterns, more droughts and heat waves, higher intensity and frequency of hurricanes. I think you've seen that the last couple of years, there seem to have been more dangerous and more frequent hurricanes, warming oceans, melting ice caps, rising sea levels, acidification of oceans. So when the oceans get warmer, they become more acidic and it threatens the biodiversity in those oceans, and extinction of ecological diversity. And ultimately, these consequences are going to affect people, and they're especially going to affect the poor and the vulnerable. And if we have rising sea levels, and we have half the world's population lives on coastal areas, well, the people who are rich and wealthy and connected aren't going to be threatened in the same way as those who have nowhere else to go. And that is it for today. So I look forward to discussing this more in class. As always, like, comment, and subscribe.